Motion to reconvene, please. John and Suzanne, please. John, don't. Lots of Johns. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, agenda questions. Please limit your questions at this time to resolutions under new business on this agenda. As a matter of fairness, you are asked to limit your questions to no more than one and your remarks to no longer than 3 minutes. If you're here representing a group, please identify yourself, the group, and your position in the group. If you're here as an individual, please give us your name and address. Please mention the resolution that you are referring to when you speak. This section of public participation will be limited to 15 minutes. Okay. All right, superintendent's report.
Yes, my superintendent's report this evening, other than wishing everyone a real happy break next week, is the harassment, intimidation, bullying, violence, and vandalism report that I'm required to do twice a year. So if the board would indulge me, it's 2 slides. Somewhat repetitive with each other, but they just allow for there to be a little bit more detail. Better? That'll work? Ed, would you mind just with us? Thank you. Okay, before we move on to the next slide, there are 2 reporting periods that we must give, one from September to December. So the numbers we're going to be looking at for those areas are for those months. And then there's another one, obviously, January to June, and I'll be doing the second reporting period in July or August. Okay, the report that we need to, go ahead, thank you. The report we need to submit has 5 different areas that we must report on: violence, vandalism, weapons, substance abuse, and harassment, intimidation, and bullying was added a couple of years ago. In regard to violence, that either falls under a fight or an assault. I go through this every year. An assault is when a child hits another child and the other child doesn't hit back. Assault. A fight is when a child hits another child and the other child hits back. That's considered a fight, and we have 1. Vandalism, there are 11. They are really just the high school and Ramapo Ridge. They deal more with vandalism and graffiti are what those 2 areas are in, and I'll talk about that when we get to the schools. 0 weapons. Substance abuse, 17. Those 17 substance abuse are all at the high school, and I'll talk about those. And we had 1 HIB during that reporting period. So if you go to the next slide, we can talk about schools a little bit more. Betsy Ross, none. And when I mean none, no violence, no vandalism, no HIBs, all of those categories, none of those. George Washington, none. Lenape Meadows, Joyce Kilmer, all at 0. Ramapo Ridge, we have 4 incidences of those overall categories. 2 of those were vandalism or damage to property. 1 was a theft, and 1 was an HIB. At the high school, where our largest number happens to be during this reporting period, and for those of you who have sat here before or listened before, these numbers go up and down in each of the areas. The high school has 1 for violence. It has 8 vandalism, 3 were damage to property, and 5 were theft. And the damage to property, we're talking about a hole in the ceiling of the boys' room, a student tire was punctured. That's the kind of things that we're talking about. Student took a dog toy and set it on fire on the athletic field. I can't make this up, I'm being honest. Then we focus in on the 17. There are 17 reported substance abuse incidents at the high school. Those all had to do, or a lot of them had to do with football games. The homecoming dance back in October, there were a number of incidences there, and those incidences had to do with alcohol. There were 4 incidences of alcohol and or marijuana during the school day. So whether or not a student had come in the morning and it was clear that perhaps there was something in his system. So those 17 were there. That number sounds like a lot, which would clearly lead to what's going on. But I say that to you because we have gone up and down throughout the years with incidences of substance abuse. Back in 2012-13, so 2 years ago, there were 28 during the reporting period.
How many students in the class in high school at that time?
I don't know the answer to that.
Okay.
Does anybody know the answer to that?
It's probably about 1,000 if you're back in.
A little bit more? more than what we have now. Any idea, guys?
Around
High
1,000.
school? 1,100, 1,000,
I don't think
1,100?
more than 1,100.
John, is that helpful?
Okay, just trying to figure out if there's a ratio, but, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, no, I know what you're saying, whereas 2010, 11, there were 10. Back in 2009 and 10, there were 4 instances. So, you know, we go up and down, but it's not as if, you know, Mr. Pascal and the teachers who are incredibly diligent as looking for kids who are exhibiting behaviors that are not normal. And I prefer that than hiding something underneath the carpet. Our staff does an excellent job and they're trained to do that. Mr. Pascal does an excellent job not only in following up with parents, but having individual meetings. And this is the time during our school year where we want to find out how things are, and if there are problems, we want to figure it out. So if children are exhibiting these behaviors, our kudos go to the high school team and the Ridge team, whoever it is that's searching out. So that's our report for this reporting period. Any questions at all from anyone? No? Okay. Thank you.
Thanks.
You want the lights off again?
Do you?
Dennis Belville.
Okay.
Yes, please.
On tonight's agenda, we have one retirement for Jen Tamboro. She's been a member of our elementary team over at JK, and she's known to be a leader in the area of mathematics, and she's been an integral part of our co-teaching model. So we thank Janet for 25 years of service here.
Can I add something about her?
Of course.
My son had her maybe 10 or 11 years ago, and she's so kind and compassionate is a very good word for her, I think. And she also, this sticks out, she taught the kids keyboarding. This is going back 10 or 11 years ago. We didn't have a lot of computers, and she taught them keyboarding. So my college student is doing it the right way.
Very nice.
ASVF. All right.
That's it.
Okay. Finance Public Facilities, Ed, do you want to do your?
Yeah, I'll do a quick budget, but before I do that, I put in a resolution on H. Very quickly, IDEA, the Individuals with Disabilities in Education Act, we receive funds from them. The majority, overwhelming, 90-something%, we use to subsidize tuitions for out-of-district students. A certain amount has to be allocated for non-public students. That is not a problem for us on the big part of this, which incorporates the older, meaning 5 through 21. For the preschool population, it is very difficult for us to spend some of this money. So what we'll do is we will carry over that sum of $3,476 for 2 years, and when we can't spend it on what you normally spend it on, we can then use it for tuition. So this just came in. I wanted to get this on so I can submit it to the state. You guys approve this carryover. Okay. And then, I don't know, unless you want to do a budget report before I do our
Well, sure, I could do a quick down and dirty. You can run.
yeah, you can do a quick down and then I'll do that.
We had a finance committee meeting, so I guess we moved right into the
Committee, yeah.
committee reports here, if you don't mind, Chris. Real quickly, a couple of things. We went over, and I guess that's going to do it now, so I'll let him do it, but just personnel, where we have staff that we might not need and where we might need to add to staff. That was the bulk of the conversation on finance. And then as far as the busing issue goes, we're still looking into it. We're trying to find ways that would make sense to be able to allow students to get on the bus even though they're outside the 2-mile radius. So we're still exploring that. Our next meeting we're going to have, which hasn't been determined yet, we're going to have the transportation coordinator come in and talk to us and give us some more information so we can make an intelligent decision on what needs to be done or what can be done. That's that.
Thank you.
I'll take a quick look tonight and just make sure everybody knows what's in and not in the budget in terms of personnel. Last week when we met, or 2 weeks ago, when we met and approved a budget, said that in that preliminary budget, there would be some reduction to staff. And so in the budget that was submitted preliminarily, we have one less kindergarten section at Betsy Ross, one less pre-K section at Lenape Meadows, and again, this is due to numbers, one less second grade at Lenape Meadows, one less fifth grade at Joyce Kilmer, and 2 less sevenths at the Ridge. And if you remember on these, last year the 4th grade class lost a section, so obviously the 5th grade class is going down, will be going down by 1. At the Ridge, we had the same thing. Last year, the 6th grade lost 2 sections, so now the 7th grade is going to lose 2 sections. So this was in the preliminary budget, which again can be changed, altered. For the final budget to be adopted, we have been looking, the central office staff and principals, supervisors, Lisa, Chris, the whole gang, at the whole special education / remedial area. And again, there has to be a certain comfort level that we all reach to make a slide. So where we're at now is we are comfortable that we can cut 1 Lenape Meadows special education position. And at the Ridge, again, this has been discussed now for about a month, and the numbers have been looked at, the kids coming in have been looked at, the kids going to the high school have been looked at. The kids who might not be in Mahwah but be educated outside of Mahwah has been looked at. And again, there's a comfort level that we can eliminate 2 positions there at the Ridge and still service the kids effectively. I mentioned this last time, but to put it on the slide, when we adopt the final budget, we are still convinced that the numbers justify adding 1.2 as of now. A full-time teacher plus somebody getting a 6th period at the high school is what is the need right now. Again, we'll be monitoring that over the next month. And then I'll move quickly through, again, just a reminder as to the general shape of the district. So in that preliminary budget, there were 9, not 10 kindergarten teachers. The elementary teachers, your basic classroom teachers. We have the art, the music, the phys ed. Very small changes on those. Sometimes when we're going from year to year, somebody might be an extra 2/10 at the middle school. The next year they go down to the elementary or they go up to the high school. So those numbers can fluctuate by small amounts, but there's no additions or subtractions in terms of staff at the current time. Middle school, broken down again by the different areas that are there. And the high school, I combined, so it all fit on one slide. We have 2 industrial art teachers do a phenomenal job, and that room goes pretty much non-stop during the day. So you combine those with our 4.6 art teachers, and that's our 6.6. And the rest, I think, here are pretty self-explanatory. Taking all of the teaching positions that go with the special ed program, and I'm counting the preschool as part of that, even though it's kind of a hybrid program. We have 8 teachers who are in self-contained, and even here, you've heard this, whether we're talking about teachers or paraprofessionals, it's not as clean as it used to be. So you can have somebody who can be teaching 3 parts of the day, self-contained, they can do resource centers. Same thing happens with paras. A para may be in a special ed classroom for 2 periods, lunch duty 1 period, and then regular classroom another period. So this gives you the big picture. It's close enough for certainly understanding the scope of what we're doing. So we have our self-contained classes, the resource centers, which again we've discussed. You have resource centers where teachers go into the classroom, resource centers where they're pulled out. We have small group instruction. The preschool program, again, we had 4, we're down to 3 teachers in the current budget. The remedial program across the district, 11.5, and the bilingual, we had gone up to 2 teachers, I think 2 years ago. Paraprofessionals, again, last year I broke this down more finely, and it's just really gets time consuming. I don't know that it serves much of a function. So the 74 in the special education area, I think that's a pretty solid number. The other 33, again, can be spread, you have people who serve in the library for additional help there, in attendance offices, helping out with office things, lunchtime. You may have a para assigned for part of a day to a classroom for whatever reason. Somebody may help out with some of the special ed students. So just kind of breaking it down, you know, about 3/4 of our paras are related to special ed and the rest do other functions. Breakdown of kind of the general support staff for the whole program. So we have the nurses and the speech and guidance, child study team, the media services, the library area. Technical support, those are our, you know, the guys who take care of the computers. We currently have 9 maintenance custodians who work for us and 5.8 full-time equivalent transportation. The large-scale administration, which includes this building, as well as directors, supervisors, principals, secretaries, assistant principals, that's what you're seeing, the whole picture there. And last but not least, on the salary area, we have our co-curricular and our athletic areas. So, you know, round numbers there, we're in that 900,000 plus mark. Questions? Good.
Thank you, Ed. Okay. Well, I don't really have anything as far as President's report. Again, enjoy your break, those of you who have a break. Hopefully spring is on its way, so let's keep our fingers crossed, no more snow. Any other board committee reports?
For policy committee, we have 15D as a second reading and adoption of the wellness and nutritional standards.
Great, thank you. Anybody else?
Yeah, we have instruction and negotiation. So everybody should have had a copy of the curriculum committee report. Big thanks to Chris Zimmerman for helping produce it and make certain that I got everything correct here. You can take a look at it at your leisure, but there's basically 3 pieces to it. One is a book replacement down in the 6th grade language arts program. The other is some curriculum writing associated with making a course for credit at the high school for kids who are classified. And the other is a state mandated update of our curriculum to be in line with New Jersey's core curriculum content standards, which is something we have to do every 5 years. And that is the curriculum report.
I see we have the NGSS on there as well, the New Jersey, the new generation, next generation science standards coming up as well.
Yes, yes,
Yes.
yes, yes,
Yeah.
I was remiss in not raising
I dream about
to the
that,
board's attention. And the negotiation met on March 12th and continues to be professional, frank discussion about the
Bless you.
typical big picture issues. We're meeting again, I believe, on April 15th, and we'll see where that takes us. But meetings they're happening, and everybody's respecting each other's time. It's been, tone's been good.
It's good to hear. It's good to hear. Anybody else? Suzanne, you want to talk about the?
I probably just went to one
Would you-
more, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we just met today and reviewed all of our different media and ways that we can communicate with the public. And really, one aspect that you should know is we are thinking of revisiting the slogan again. So Chris will be sending out a survey about that.
Yes, so yes, you'll look in your email. I will send out a little survey in the email.
And I'll have a more detailed report in the file next time.
Okay. Anyone else? All right, thank you very much. Board member remarks?
Real quick, as our NSF liaison, they did have a meeting a couple of weeks ago. I have a sneak peek of the Grants in Action newsletter. If anybody wants to have a look. That's actually officially gonna be coming out after spring break. They have, on June 4th, they have their ladies' night out, which was formerly ladies' luncheon. They changed that around a little bit. May 14th is the golf outing at Apple Ridge, and October 11th is the run.
Okay. All right, anyone else? Great, thank you. All right, old business, minutes. Do I have a motion? John Dolan and Doug D'Angelo? Any discussion? All in favor?
Let me do roll call.
I always mix up which I do roll
That's
call.
Mr. Dolan?
Yes.
Mr. Evanetti?
Yes.
Mr. Salverini?
Yes.
Mrs. Barron?
Abstain.
Mrs. Curry?
Yes.
Mr. D'Angelo?
Yes.
Mr. De Silva?
Yes.
Mr. Denise?
Yes.
And Mrs. Davis?
Yes. New business other, we're gonna go 15A through H. Do I have a motion? Doug D'Angelo and Chuck? Discussion?
No, I need to abstain on number D. The second reading, I didn't have the first reading. Is that correct?
Well, you could, when you get call
You
roll
guys-
call,
okay.
you could abstain from.
You wouldn't have to abstain if you've got a chance to read it if you missed the first reading. First
You're
reading
okay.
just introduces it, so you haven't really missed that.
Okay.
Once you can call Rick and he'll read it to you.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Any other discussion? Okay, roll call.
All right, 15A through H, Mr. Dolan?
Yes.
Mr. Evanetti?
Yes.
Mr. Salverini, yes. Mrs. Barron?
Yes.
Mrs. Curry?
Yes.
Mr. D'Angelo?
Yes.
Mr. De Silva?
Yes.
Mr. Denise?
Yes.
And Mrs. Davis?
Yes. New business personnel, 16A through J. May I have a motion, please? Chuck and John Dolan? Discussion?
16A through H. Mr. Dolan?
Yes.
Mr. Evanetti?
Yes.
Mrs. Salverini, Mrs. Barron?
Yes.
Mrs. Curry?
Yes.
Mr. D'Angelo?
Yes.
Mr. De Silva?
Yes.
Mr. Denise?
Yes.
And Mrs. Davis?
Yes. Okay, public questions or comment?
Evelyn Silvero, 43 Thunderhead Place. I just wanted to ask, the park testing is going to begin again on April 20th, correct?
Yes,
What
April
testing
20th or
window?
April 21st.
I guess when are the principals going to send out the letter, that will break down for each school?
We're meeting with an administrative team, as an administrative team, the Tuesday after spring break, everyone together, and we're going to come up with a timeline then.
Okay.
But all buildings have their own plan in place. We're going to discuss how we're going to communicate that at that meeting.
Okay. And then Ed's presentation, will that be available on the website?
Sir?
Yes?
We did the first one as well, so certainly.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else? Okay. Motion to adjourn, I think that's it. Doug and John Dolan, thank you.